And it was so poignant, so powerful. I want to get Brian Dutcher's thoughts on it. First and foremost, Dutch, good morning to you. Thanks for your time.
Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
What did you make of what unfolded last night in the NBA, Dutch?
I think it's incredible. I mean, obviously, I'm thinking back to when we were 30-2, and the NBA decided they had a couple positive tests, and they shut the season down, and then everything shut down. And here we are again. That was COVID back then. Now we're talking social justice, social injustice, and the NBA has decided to shut down. And if they shut down the season, it'll be interesting to see if other sports follow again.
Dutch, I can only imagine how many people you know, former players, we just played the Chris Webber audio, even current players as well, that you may have coached, that you may have coached again. Any conversation you had with anybody or anyone specifically really jump out to you with how many people that you know in the game of basketball?
I mean, I'm surrounded in college by some of the greatest black voices in radio right now and TV. Chris Webber, Jalen Rose. I mean, what they've done in a broadcasting capacity is incredible. And Chris always was a voice of black history, black justice, even back when he was in college. So this is not a surprise that he would come out with the statement he did and speak so well of it. And like I said, I've been surrounded by young black men and black role models my whole life. But like I told the team last night, I'll never know what it is to be black. All I can be is an advocate. I can be a voice for them. And just be as supportive as I possibly can of the young black man that I'm fortunate enough to spend time with every day.
Dutch, so a lot of the black men who we've heard from the last 24 hours, and there was a player for the Mets who broke down crying, says, people, they don't care. There's still so much hate in people's hearts. From your team, from the guys you coach, do you get the sense that they're optimistic that it may be at a snail's pace like J.R. Tolver told us, but slowly but surely we're getting to that change?
I think young people, by and large, are optimistic. And yes, they've suffered tremendous injustice. But if there's not hope, there's nothing. So we have to have hope. We have to believe that we can get to the other side of this, that this is not a black movement. This is a human movement led by the black community. And but people of all colors are supportive of it, and that's where the change will come, when everybody is supportive of the movement.
Dutch, you mentioned and Brian Dutch with us on Xtra 1360. You mentioned your entire young career, your coaching career, you have been around young black athletes. Is there a big difference between how these athletes may feel from, we go back to your Michigan days, and then if we fast forward until now?
Yeah, but I'll never know what that feeling is. They can express it to me, and I can be a good listener, and I can try to understand as best as I can as a white man, but I'll never know what it is. And so all I can be is supportive of them as young men. I can be supportive of their cause, and I can try to make a difference in their lives as best I can from where I sit.
Dutch, do you think we're going to get any more NBA games this season?
They've got a great opportunity to take advantage of their platform, and I think they were doing a great job of that. After every game, it was delivering the message, the Black Lives Matter movement, and now they are at another crossroads, and they have to decide what is the best way to continue that message. Is it cancel the season and deliver one strong message at one time? Is it to continue to play and speak to a national audience on a daily basis? And these movements aren't driven by the owners. They're driven by the players. They're driven by the youth. And that's like all these marches you see. They were all started by the youth. And then the adults finally join in. And so this is a youth movement. And like most of them are. And so the NBA is going to sit and they're going to discuss what's the best way to use their voice to make change. And whatever it is, I'm sure it'll be thought out and it will be effective.
Yeah, and they're talking now. We'll keep a beat on that story. I know Fletch is keeping an eye on it as well about what is going to be next for the NBA. Brian Dutcher with us on Xtra 1360, Fox Sports San Diego, getting an idea of what is happening now with San Diego State basketball. Dutch, to you, your squad, what is happening right now before we try to figure out if there'll be a season or not? What are you guys up to?
We just moved the freshmen into the dorms on Friday. We have a 10-day quarantine where they get tested, and they have to spend 10 days getting through quarantine. And then we get them out here. We've got some guys that are already through quarantine that were in town a little earlier. So I was out on the field just before I came up here watching 4 guys do strength and conditioning on the football field. And it's small steps. Obviously, COVID has forced that. But our university, starting from the president on down, has done a great job of setting up protocols and procedures to get us out there in a safe manner and to hopefully get us back on that basketball court in the near future.
Coach, the story about a potential bubble atmosphere down in Houston where the Aztecs were prominently part of the article, also could be happening in Vegas. How serious is this conversation with you and the staff and the school?
I think people are all trying to be proactive. There are certain teams in the conference that are floating a conference bubble. There's certain events that are floating a multi-team bubble. And so I think it's all conversation that is trying to be prepared in case we're forced to go that route. I don't think anything's been decided. I think it's just conversation now. We're all kind of waiting until I think it's September 16th. The NCAA will come out with their guidance for college basketball. And when that happens, we'll all have a clear idea of what their thoughts are, and everybody will move on from that point to kind of see what it's going to look like.
Dutch, what's more difficult, the concern of keeping players healthy or the financial burden that the pandemic and constant testing would put on the university?
It's all together. I mean, we want to keep the players safe, but keeping them safe obviously comes at a cost, to pay for the testing or to continually know that we're going to suffer revenue loss because we're not going to have fans in the football stadium or a basketball arena, a potential of that not being at capacity or maybe not having anyone in there. It's going to be a financial burden for the university and the athletic department. But we've had great support from administration. They know that Aztec Athletics is a great front door to this university, and they want to do anything in their power to help us continue to be successful.
Coach, when the guys on the team have to get tested, are they walking to the training medical facility on campus, or do they have to go drive off to a doctor's office?
No, they've got some testing sites near campus that are just open to the general public, and we've been going through that. The University Health Service is starting to ramping up some testing, and so like we read every day, there's a new test coming out, and hopefully there's a test, like they're saying, that we can get tested and know within 15 minutes down the road. But until that happens, we're just moving along with the county and whatever resources they offer, and the university what they offer in terms of testing. We don't have a specific athletic department testing center or where the athletes just go.
Have you thought about bubble life? Have you thought about coaching this season in a location that you do not leave?
I told the assistants I would send them to the bubble with the team, and I would call in. I'd watch it on TV and call in.
Just Zoom everywhere?
I don't know if I could spend 3 months in a bubble. I know that much. That might be too long for me, but no, it's all, we're in different times. I mean, I feel so sorry for kids that were seniors in high school last year that lost their senior year, and now they want to go to college in their freshman year. They can't have a roommate. They're distanced. They can't go near anybody. I mean, we are dealing in uncharted territory, times that we've never seen. And I know we'll get through it, but it presents challenges every day.
Dutch, on a serious note, mental health a lot of times can really rear its head in young people. How are you able to keep up with the mood and just how your players are doing it? Going back to the Orlando bubble, you kind of get the sense that players were not doing really well in that situation. They're separated from family. You just mentioned freshmen coming in, having to be quarantined. How do you kind of make sure that the mental health of everybody, that you're making sure that your guys are good?
President De La Torre and John David Wicker, they've given us tremendous resources, and part of that is an ability to get over there and talk your problems out across campus. You have any, your concerns, and we have help for these young men. And we make sure they know it's available. Some may choose to use it, some may not, but we have voices that need to be heard, and if they need to be heard, we have people across campus that are willing to listen and help these young men.
Coach, it could be a negative, it could also be a positive, but recruiting within the COVID paradigms, how has that gone for you?
It's a challenge because of most of it's done on Zoom. Obviously, we go out in the spring, we go out in the summer, and we evaluate who we think is good enough to be an Aztec. I didn't get a chance to do that. I haven't seen a player since last summer. My assistants obviously go out and see high school games, and I'll catch a local game or two. But during the season, I'm focused on our team, the Aztec team. And so I don't feel I have a good feel for some of the players that I'm talking to on the phone. Usually I see them play in the summer. I know who I really like, and I up the effort, and I up the calls, and I turn the heat up. But right now, I haven't seen a lot of these young men. And so I'm going on someone else's opinion of them. And so I'm still trying to do a good job recruiting. But there's a difference in being able to see them, know what they're about, and talk to them at that level. Right now, everybody's doing it, though. So recruiting is a challenge. And maybe you'll see more mistakes made by schools in the recruiting process where they really don't know what they're getting because they don't get a chance to see the kids enough.
Dutch, before we let you go, I've talked to you enough times. I know that you are not a rear view mirror guy. But with that being said, 30-2 last year, you were chasing either a 1 or 2 seed to enter the big dance. Everything that you've poured into this career of yours, and you have such a spectacular season as you leading the way. Have you had a chance to really digest the 30-2 season last year that was cut short?
Yeah, I mean, what a special team that was. And the thing I'll always feel bad about is not for me, not for some of the younger kids, for the seniors that never went to one NCAA tournament, that were wonderful players. Malachi Flynn, 3 years of college basketball, never got to the NCAA tournament. KJ Fagan, great guard, never got to the NCAA tournament one time. Yanni Wetzel, fifth-year senior, never played in the NCAA tournament. And so to have them not have that one opportunity to have that run, it just breaks my heart. The rest of us, we're thinking right now we're going to go back. We're going to have another good year. We're going to find a way to have a season, and we're going to be back in the tournament this year. And so hope always springs eternal, and that's how I kind of am. I'm looking forward to this year. Obviously regret not letting those seniors play in the tournament, but ready to move on and ready to get to the tournament again this year as an Aztec coach and team.
Well, at least you get to walk by your trophy case and see that beautiful Mountain West Conference Coach of the Year trophy we gave you. So there's a silver lining.
Yeah, that is big time. I got that in prominent display at the house.
You promised, Dutch? We may need to see a photo for proof.
I got it. I'm going to send you guys one.
Okay, please. I want to see it.
For those that don't know, this was a trophy that you guys made for me with the wood burner. And so I don't want people to think I've got the Mountain West Coach of the Year actual trophy hanging in my house. This is a personal one that was made by you guys for me, and it was greatly appreciated.
I'd like to slow down on the you guys, Dutch. That was all Mike Costa. This is a Mike Costa special. But if it's up at your house, maybe I'll be a part of it.
Now, listen, just the guy that still owned a wood burner, that was our era. Wood burners were like my era. Young people don't even know what that is.
You can come over to my house and we can watch a video on beta tape if you want.
Yeah, exactly.
Dutch, really appreciate it, man. It's a crazy time to say the least, and like you, we are just hoping against hope that we turn to a degree of normalcy and that change does happen in our country as well, and that part of that change is Aztec basketball. Always appreciate the visit.
Thanks for having me.
All right, there's Brian Dutcher, head coach at San Diego State University.
Why do you have a wood